understized. She's faster, probably, and a little bit more guard heavy, but she fits our style of play versus that went for us to a T. So to me, she's absolutely the right side. And she'll do a great job shooting the ball and get like distributing. She's just super smart. Anything we put out there, she's picked up like that.
Tell us about what non-conference game at the Joel do you think is going to be the most exciting one to watch?
I think Georgetown. I think when we played Georgetown at home, we played Georgetown at Georgetown a couple of years ago. It was pretty tight, and then it kind of spread open at the end. But certainly, we look forward to that matchup because it's back to like a Big East opponent now, right? Somebody that we need to prepare ourselves because I think after the Georgetown game, we played 2 ACC games, so it's kind of like the beginning to what we're about to see. So I'm excited for that game mostly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, you talked about toughness in your press conference. So where do you feel like your biggest growth in that area for your team has been in this offseason?
Probably just the grit piece. I would say the toughness part comes with like the competitive side, right? Because you can be down and out. A team could go on our practice guys can go on a 10-0 run, but you have to respond, and that's toughness in a different way. It's a lot more like mental toughness, and we're talking about both sides. We're talking about physical toughness and mental toughness there, but that they have not quit. They have not quit one time. And I think what we're working on too is like the energy piece, constantly having energy as well, because sometimes our practices get quiet when things aren't going well, and it's like that's the time where you just got to ramp it up and start not thinking about yourself but outside yourself and helping your teammates bring that toughness and energy when you need it.
So the ACC is growing, and so is women's basketball. Can you just talk about kind of your impact and how you feel the future of the women's game is going to be going forward?
The future of the women's game is growing. It's so much fun to be a part of it. Just watching the WNBA and how that's growing, and the physicality of everything with that, I think is really interesting as you hear the press conferences and stuff. But the women's game is just getting better and better, and I think the talent's getting better. Players are getting more experience and more exposure at a younger age. The tournaments that they're having with all the shoe companies are helping, with the competitive nature of it, because now these great teams, AAU-wise, are playing against each other all the time. So it gives those players an idea of what it's going to be like when they get to the power forward level and the grind of it, right? Game in, game out. I think that's helpful, but I do think that the players are just naturally getting better at a younger age, and that's helping across the board.
How do you feel about playing in the Joel this year?
Excited. We're really excited. We structured our schedule as such that we have 9 home games, so the fans can kind of fall in love with the team. Like that's what you want, right? You want them to see the team a lot and feel comfortable with them and get to know them. We just had an open practice the other day, so they can meet them and sign some autographs and things. I think that's important to bring the fan energy. We love playing at the Joel, and I think for a bunch of people that have never played in the Joel, it's important to play there a lot before we hit our ACC play. And we open up with 2 home games in the ACC, so it's important that we're there a lot.
Coach, you mentioned, I think, a couple times about grit and physicality. Was that an aspect of previous teams or last year's team you felt maybe was not where you wanted it to be?
No, I think it was there. I think we graduated on some of that, right? So we need to continue down that road of, we lost a Demir and a Malay who were physical, right, and tough kids to guard. So we have to make sure that we're still doing those things, and I think one of our focuses has been rebounding, because those 2 brought a lot of defensive rebounding for us, so we have to focus on that end of the floor and making sure that all of us are on the glass. So that's kind of what I meant by that. I don't think that we didn't have it last year. I think it was more of we just have to continue down that road and keep getting better